up? What's up? Welcome back. This is the Three-Sided Coin. I'm your host, Corey D. This is my co-host, the beautiful.
Just breathe.
All right. So today's topic, it was one that struck a chord with us, or definitely with me. Waking up in the morning, whatever. But this one really set fire on my ass. False narratives. False narratives. What do I mean by false narratives? I mean all that shit we're hearing in the mass media, major mass media, social media. It's just a lot of false narratives going around. It's a lot of misinformation being put out there. And yeah, I just want to go ahead and bury a whole lot of that shit. So, you ready to run? You ready
I'm
to do
always
this?
ready.
All right. So, let me start with this first one. First and foremost, the narrative that black men hate black women and black women hate black men is a false narrative. Now, are there some issues between black men and black women? Absolutely. But that narrative of hate is bullshit because if there was a hatred for the two, um, first and foremost, there wouldn't even be a conflict. If you hate somebody that damn much, you should be walking away from them. You shouldn't feel anything for them. You just shouldn't feel anything for them. But what's your thoughts on that? I realize that yes, there are some issues definitely that can be sorted out. But just that whole notion. So when people sit there and be like, "Oh, black men hate black women," or "Black women hate black men," honestly, I really want to be like, "Shut the fuck up," because it's you're just talking out of nonsense and emotion, and it's just not real. What do you think, y'all?
Well, I think that's true. I would agree definitely that I think there's definitely love there, but I think that there's a sect of black men who don't like women. They love women. They love black women, but they don't like women. They so what I mean by that is they'll date them, they'll have sex with them, they'll form relationships, they'll have families, but they don't really like women. If you look at how they talk about women, how they regard them, they don't care to spend quality time with them. They don't want to. They don't. I don't know. It just comes off like you love me, but you don't like me, and I feel like that's a more dangerous place to be in when someone doesn't
I
really
mean,
care to be around you.
true. I could argue that same thing for black women. Not liking black men. I mean, it's the same argument. We can go back and forth on that one. The prevalent or the prevailing or the most commonly used phrases, they're old, but they're constantly being thrown at you. I mean, at what point you get tired of somebody sitting there and the narrative is always your fault. Everything's your fault. You're worthless. You abandon your kids. You don't take care of your responsibilities. You always got to be held accountable for shit. As a man, as if we already don't do that on ourselves. Like we're very, very big on, yo, this is why I messed up. I got to be better. Self correction. But yo,
Are
we
you?
hell yeah, absolutely, hell yeah. I'm
I'm
gonna stand 10 toes
self-corrected.
down on. Yeah, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on that. Yo, I ain't say everybody they're not applying it, but they damn sure do think about it. Oh damn, I was messed up. What I had to do or what I did. Oh, I got to do better. It don't mean that they not going, you know, drop the
But
bag or fumble the ball again. But
my love
yo,
inspires me to behave differently sometimes. If I actually
mm,
have some regard for you as an individual, I have some love for you.
see
I
that?
do
There it is.
not.
Uh, what was that key word? What was those words?
It's regard.
Regard for exactly. So what do you do when somebody don't have no regard for you?
Well, you would think people would sever those connections, but that's not what happens
No,
at all. It took
no.
me a moment. It was a moment in the middle of it wasn't an altercation, like a physical altercation, but it took a moment. And in that moment, it clicked on me like, this dude loved me, but he don't like me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And no, like, it was
Yeah,
bad.
hey,
Like,
yo, that part hurts because I've been there, like loved someone and I'm just like, yo, for real. I've been there. And the hurtful part of that is you want to regain it. You actually work and try to do things to regain that love, man. And for real, nope. I just don't. I can't get past that. The fact that yo, this is who you are, and I don't like that. You are.
And that's
I
okay, but
always
then why
say
you hit
you are
me
not a
up?
source of. No,
But
but
we
you are not a
tried to
source of
split,
peace.
and then you call me back, even though you realize, I think he realized, like, he didn't really like me like he used to like me. So why do you keep coming back? Yes, you would think if you have a lack of regard, a lack of respect, a lack of
Mhm.
tolerance for someone, that you would walk away and be done, or if they walk away, you would let them. But that's not what
Mhm.
happens. People hold on to you.
Oh, people, they will stalk you. I've been stalked. I've been hounded. I was, I mean, shit. I set boundaries and somebody was like, you wrong for not telling me where you live. I mean, literally was trying to shame me because I moved from my location and they literally tried to shame me for moving and not telling them where I live. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Why would I give you access to me after you've shown me who you truly are at your core? That's and yo, there's no fixing this. We got to move our own separate ways. Oh, that's either we be cordial, we don't have to be anything, but still, like, nah.
But I do
That
think
level
it's
of
a false
nonsense was.
narrative, because I think when I'm correcting someone, when I'm
Mm,
chastising someone, when I'm criticizing someone, it is because I care about you. It is because I see your potential. It is because I love you and I want to see you succeed. But
hmm
oftentimes that gets it's offensive to try to correct someone. It's taken as offense.
Well,
And then, yeah, I
mhm,
think that's where that narrative comes from. Like, how dare you talk about me in this manner? It's like, no, I'm trying to bring it to the table and lay it out so that we can address it and improve it. If
mhm,
I thought you weren't worthwhile, if I thought there was no hope in Black men, why
mhm.
would I waste my breath and energy?
Oh, I can't answer that question for you. I can just look at you because that's what you'll be doing. That's what you'll be doing. Now, understand this here. I had to do some self-reflecting on how I came up because I didn't come up, I came up with a single mother and stuff. But somehow, some way, I've always managed to be in the presence of older men. Even when I was a little kid, I was always in the presence of older, mature men. So I've always seen how they move, how they act, and I've seen some high-head younger ones that were just older than me, but I was immersed with, like, the older uncles, the older friends of the family and such. And I've always gravitated towards them. They used to be like, yo, we got an old soul, but I learned so much as far as how to handle certain things. And some of the lessons that they taught me, sometimes I had to remember, think back and remember, okay, this is what you really should be doing. This is what you should be listening for. A lot of times in communication, and I have to say this, um, a breakdown of communication is when someone has been attacked their whole life, even when it's not directly, but indirectly attacked their whole life as far as being criticized, overly criticized for everything they do. And it's coming from women. They don't want to hear nothing negative that any woman has to say because they're doing what they can. It may not work for you, but they're doing what they can and what they consider is their best. And here you come poking at that. You created a sore spot, you know, and
But
or hold on, or you found a sore spot for them. So their response isn't, they're not going to take it the way you would expect them to, even though you don't mean any harm by it. Right. Now, some people just flat out damn malicious and just want to be mean, spiteful, and harmful. And they just say stuff, and they say damaging things. That's why I say, life and death is in the power of the tongue. People kill all day long with their mouth. That's the first weapon they use is the sword. They killing, they stabbing, they killing. They don't mend, they don't stitch. they're using it to kill, and that's on both sides. For one person comes to mind is my college coach, and something he said, not just to me but to all the teammates that I had in one meeting. He said, listen to what I tell you and not how I tell you. This is business, it's nothing personal. Listen to what I tell you and not how I tell you. And he would cuss me out readily. I mean, you know, boy, you motherfucker. I mean, he kicked me off the team, made me catch my own ride home a couple times because I didn't perform a certain way. I'm like, God dang, I'm having an off day and now I got to find a way home. Dude, we in another state. What you talking about? Like, yo, he was off the chain with it. Yo, he was off the chain and would tell you, I'm going to leave you right there and I'm gone. You ain't riding back with us now. But it was, you could walk away and feel like, dang, man, he tore me down. But then it was like, no. He didn't tear me down. He's building me through some hard, real, straight up talk. And what he said to me was, I need to do this, 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 and this. And when I started doing those things, I was okay. And I saw what he was doing. But everybody doesn't have my mentality. I've seen that same man, those same words break people, grown men, break them down into tears and frustration, making them quit. And I'm like, dang, that's how do you, everybody does, again, everybody doesn't respond the same way to criticism, you know.
That, but also you talked about in a different arena. So you're right. If I think about your parents, your siblings, if you got
siblings are horrible.
some friends like
Siblings
that.
are
But I'm
horrible.
saying,
Sisters are the worst.
who you
Sisters
telling? I have
are
smoke.
the worst. Sisters are the worst. Y'all are absolute evil, pure evil. Yo, for real, I'm like this. Yo, if there's a guy who got sisters, that woman is thinking to herself every day, I don't know how he allowed me to survive all these years because I was terrible to him. But that's a part of that love. Like, oh yeah, she's a monster. She's an absolute monster.
My
But
point is, how can you understand it when it's a coach or when it's a sibling or a parent? Because some of us have some parents who have their method of
oh,
raising us was tough love.
absolutely
Um, but we understand and
damaging.
we don't question that. But when it comes to a partner or in a relationship, when someone chastises you in the same way, all of a sudden they're hating on you or you hate men. Or if I speak out on my experiences, why is
Mm-hmm.
me speaking on my experiences with Black men translate into you hate Black or you must hate Black men or you must hate men? Like, oh, no. I love them. I just don't like those behaviors. I don't like those
Right.
things about like I hate that.
Right. I
But yeah,
think I
I can
think though
separate.
that way it should actually communication though. If we say those things specifically, let's talk about some specifics. I don't like these behaviors. This. We'll get each other. Okay. Then I'm not for you, or you're not for me. You know, it'll be a lot easier to communicate. I mean, a lot easier to coexist and stuff, but we don't do that. We don't do that. We barely talk.
But I think that's a perfect segue into another false narrative
Mm-hmm.
about toxic people and toxic niggas. Like, I think you just made a very valid point. I was in conversation. I consider myself pretty involved. Uh, um,
Okay.
via social media just a few
Mhm.
days ago, and I said, yeah, something about toxic niggas. And I had to step back and correct myself and say, you know what? Actually, the individual that I'm thinking of, he's not a toxic person. He's not a bad person. It's just
Mhm.
we're not aligned on some things. So the relationship would never work out. And so,
Right.
like, having that understanding, yes, we communicated on some things.
Mhm.
And it's just some things he's not going to change. And he might put on a facade of changing them to have the relationship. But I know at the core, it's just some things that we differ on, some fundamentals.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, changing that narrative, like, really, it's a lot of talk about narcissism. It's a lot of talk about toxicity. It's a lot of talk
Mhm.
about, yeah, hating on people. But like, everybody ain't stunning you. Everybody ain't out to get you and take you down. That is a false negative narrative. It is not that many
Mhm.
toxic people. There may be behaviors you don't agree with and like. There may be
Mhm.
fundamental principles that you differ on. There may be some people who believe and the values that you have and want to align with you, but they don't have the resources, the growth, or the tools. That,
Agree.
like, stop demonizing and villainizing people just because they weren't for you.
Mm-hmm. No, man, you hit that one on the head as far as I'm concerned, because that's the world we're in. That is truly the world we're in, whereas people just, they're, it's truly a selfish nature, but it's a very, I don't know, it just seems selfish. For me, it just seems selfish and very insecure that everything offends. Like
Yes.
it's not, yeah, everything is an offense. It's like, oh, but it's not meant to be. Reality, it's not meant to be an offense, but everything offends you. Like I say, I once I learned four agreements, I started like practicing it, especially the first two agreements. That took the longest to get down. And that's one, being impeccable with my word, making sure that I'm following up on whatever I say, do, and being mindful of how I speak to people. Would think first before I say certain things, because I may do damage to someone unbeknownst to myself, just
Yeah.
off of just being it's harmless for me because it's just something I would say, but it could be damaging to someone else. And then how do I not internalize what someone else is saying to me? It goes right back to listen to what I've said as opposed to how I said it. That whole, um, I'm not even gonna get into Brother Ye, but if you listen to what he say and not who he is or why he's saying or how he's saying, just listen to what he says. There's some merit in that, but I'm not gonna get into that. That's a whole nother topic, and we're talking about false narratives here.
Well, there's
I could
some
go all
truth
day on
in
that
the
one.
false narratives.
Yeah, there. I mean, in everything, in everything you say, in everything that comes out of everything that comes out of everyone's mouth, you got about 85% truth to it, and it's that 15% of the lie or the misinformation. And sometimes they don't even know it's misinformation. And that's just reality. A lot of people just regurgitate what they heard. That's not real. That's not true. They don't understand the difference between reality TV being entertainment versus reality is what we living in every day. You can't live like that. If you
So
in
if we don't
reality,
have all these toxic people, then what is it? Like, who are the toxic individuals?
no, at first you gotta look at self, because and then look at your
Ooh,
environment.
look
Look
at
at self. Oh,
yourself.
nobody wants to look in the mirror. Everybody
Ooh.
wants to look in the mirror and oh, I'm blah blah. Fellas be like, I shave I'm rough right now, but I'm fine with myself. I can look myself in the mirror. I can look myself in the eye. And if I don't like something about me, I have enough in me to say, you know what? Either I'm gonna lock down on my discipline and make sure I do some changes, or I'm gonna just let it be who I am. Certain things I feel are worth it. Other things I'm like, I can get. I don't need all that. I don't need to
So
change that.
is an
I am.
individual toxic, or is it your permissiveness of bad behavior that is actually toxic?
Both. Both. Both.
Because if someone is toxic for you, that's like drinking a poison. Like, I'm around toxins all the time. They don't infect me because I don't ingest them.
Well, but again, there's that. Here's what you need to receive from whatever's coming around you, and here's what you don't need, and you throw that out. That's
Let me say
that's
that
just
in
what it
any
is.
criticism, a lot of criticism that I receive, which I'm okay with constructive criticism. I actually seek it out. I actually hate to
Mm-hmm.
be just told everything is well and good. Like, no, tell me seriously. Give me some real feedback. How can I improve?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when it's completely off base and it's not
Mm-hmm.
aligned with who I am very clear on, like what represents my character, then
Mm-hmm.
there is I think you said something very valuable there. There is some value in pausing and actually digesting what has been said. If it's irrelevant, I throw it away, I discard it, whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
But even when I feel like I'm right, even when I feel like I haven't wronged someone or I haven't violated some principle or value of someone's, I still take the moment to evaluate, yeah, that introspection, that me factor, like what would make you perceive me that way? Or is there any truth? Sometimes we have to be real with ourselves. Sometimes you are exhibiting some bad behaviors. You are being a nuisance to
Mm.
someone. You are violating some of
Yeah.
the principles and values. You are not being as good of a person as you perpetrate to be. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes there's some truth in that, and own that.
Yeah.
Own it.
I can only agree. The thing is, people they enjoy the mask, and you can't wear it all the time. You can wear it for a long time. I've been with people who wore masks for a very long time, and it's crazy because once you see them behind the mask, you see who they are, and then your dynamic changes, and they come back at you with the mask on. It's just like, really, really, you really want to do this?
I can tell you,
But
there is always there. It's always
yeah,
right in front of your face.
but people do that. They put on because they want to achieve a goal. Okay, fine. Now, a lot of times, people put on to achieve a goal with the hopes that they can truly achieve those things. But you can't do it looking at someone else as an external motivator. You have to be motivated within yourself
Right.
to make whatever change you want to make for you. But everybody isn't. They just don't know. It's just something that they don't know how to do it. They've never been
Well,
taught.
how do we shift that narrative? Because that is like, I don't, most people that I'm in close relationship with would never say that Black men and Black women hate each other. But in the grand scheme of things, how do we shift that narrative? How do we shift that perspective, that outside perspective? Just because I think I'm kind of talking to a solution myself as I'm saying that we
Mhm.
overshare. We're so public. That was part of the disdain with individuals like Bill Cosby. Like, I don't know, he can have his opinions about certain behaviors and trends within the Black community, but it was kind of like that public lashing.
Mhm.
And you're doing it in front of other people. And now it's like you're telling our business